Hello and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we have another Flat Earth debate. This is from two relatively unknown people. I've watched a couple of the Jack of all trades videos, and he asked me if I would host a debate between himself and the pure gospel of Flat Earth. So tonight we're just going to do that. We've got a pretty structured format. They're going to have 10 minutes to do their opening statements, then 10 minutes to rebuttal and ask each other questions, and then we're going to have a moderated discussion. So before we get going, I don't know if you guys can see the t-shirt I'm wearing. This is for a particular thing, Sleeping Warrior Week starting on Monday, in case you weren't aware of that. Currently there is 5 videos that I've got, and there is 7 other creators also making videos for it, as well as the obvious interview with George Musser that everyone's looking forward to. But that's for next week. Tonight, like I said, we have Jack of all trades versus the pure gospel of Flat Earth. Jack of all trades, would you just like to introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, Greg. My name is Bart van Assen. Run a small YouTube channel, Jack of all trades. Live in Indonesia for the last 20 years. And I met Jouke from the Pure Gospel about a few months ago. We had a few run-ins, a few discussions together about the flat Earth, and basically started a big discussion with him, trying to figure out what drives him. So he's the good guy. We've got Willie, who plays the bad guy with all kinds of extra in it. And we did several debates already on that. And this is a replacement for a 202 on debate that we were supposed to do. And with that, I'll leave it up to Jouke to introduce himself. Thank you.
Jouke, you want to say hello to everyone?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Jouke Elsinga. Can my screen be put up there, Craig? Can you see me right now?
Yes, yep, yeah. When you talk, you're on screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I run the YouTube channel Pure Gospel on the Flat Earth, and our aim is to expose lies, to forward the truth, because we think that the truth will set people free, and that the Bible is true, and that it is in accordance with what real science tells us. And that tells us that the Earth is flat and stationary, just like our senses make us appear. So I'm trying to put this forward, and I had privilege to do a couple of debates with Bart van Assen, and that was, for me, it's always great to testify. That's more. I made several videos on the flat Earth topics and about the Bible and flat Earth. So that's about me.
Okay, I've got links to both their channels in the description, so guys feel free to check them out at your leisure. But let's just get started with this. 10 minutes each. Do either of you have a preference as to who wants to go first, or do you want me to flip a coin?
I don't mind. Jouke likes to go first most of the time.
Well, we can just go with that if you want.
Okay, yes. Let's
Okay, you got 10 minutes starting from... I'll let you know when there's 5 minutes to go and then when there's 1 minute to go, okay? So you've got 10 minutes starting from now.
Okay. Like I said, my name is Jouke Elsinga. As followers of Christ, I follow Christ. I did a little bit studying in apologetics, and apologetics has to do with giving a defense or giving an answer of the hope that is in you, and it refers to a Bible passage, a famous Bible text from 1 Peter 3 verse 15, and there it says, "But in your hearts revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect." So sometimes it is challenging to do this with gentleness and respect, but it's a privilege, and it's an honor for me to do that, to testify about the hope that is in me, and testify also about creation, because I think that the earth and the heaven are created, that God created heaven and earth. So I think that there's good evidence for intelligent design, that there is a designer, um, the Heavenly Father, who created people and only heavens and the heaven and the earth. And I think that the earth is flat. And that's not only because the Bible tells us so, because I was familiar with Isaiah 40 verse 22, and it has always been presented in such a way to make it seem that it says basically that the earth is this ball. So I thought that the Bible was teaching this. So then in 2016-17, came across a couple of flat earth videos, and I studied these, and I discovered about propaganda for when it comes to space propaganda, and I discovered the evidence for the flat Earth. And that was basically after I watched a couple of videos on the geocentrism versus heliocentrism debate, and obviously this has to do with whether the Earth is stationary or whether it revolves around the sun and these kind of things and around its own axis. So after I solved that problem, basically I went to the flat Earth, and I discovered a couple of flat Earth videos. I discovered that NASA puts forward propaganda to promote the globe Earth and to make it seem that people are floating there in space. So they are faking footage allegedly coming from space, produced in the ISS, in the International Space Station. But I think it's actually an international air castle, because I don't think it's floating in space, and then I don't even think that people can float somewhere in space, because otherwise there wouldn't be any reason to fake it. So I think that gravity is also fake. There are many inconsistencies when it comes to gravity, like the size of the moon and the waters on the Earth, even in the so-called scientific model, these things don't add up. Moreover, gravity cannot account for why satellites, etc., aren't why the Earth doesn't bump into satellites, etc., and or the moon, things like that. Especially when it also would be going around the sun. Moreover, gravity should work in all kinds of different ways. It should pull people perpendicular to the Earth, and also compensate for the centrifugal force for the Earth's rotation, and for its movement around the sun. And then obviously you have the experiments which indicate that there's no curvature. So for instance, that of the Chicago skyline, basically everyone agrees that that shouldn't be visible from that distance. The Chicago skyline shouldn't be visible from over that distance, but apparently it is. So that's basically my position, and you can see this in my video, The Case for the Flat Earth, where I presented
5 minutes to go, okay?
Yeah, so shall I just present you some of the parts from the video? Maybe for the viewers, it's nice to look into that. But already is you and Bart are already familiar with this video, so can I share this?
Yep. If you want to share what, do you want to share your video now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Share screen.
Yeah. Just go up to the top right
Okay.
and click on the things,
Okay.
and then share screen.
Okay. Delen. Yeah. Okay. Here you can see the video. Basically, here I do some talking. Here you see how NASA basically comes to the pictures, unless pictures of the Earth, the images of the Earth. So they even admit that they are photoshopped, and then they say, well, they have to be photoshopped. But the problem is, why are there then duplicated clouds in these images, allegedly coming from space? So also you see that certain of these images are, some of these images are pasted into other images. Over here we are at the part where you see that they use basically different video layers in the footage allegedly coming from the ISS. Here you see an astronaut who disappears, becomes transparent as he moves around the corner. See bubbles in space. Okay. Well, then I'm talking a little bit about gravity. So gravity should compensate for all these different forces. So you see all kinds of different speeds involved into the alleged motions, different motions. So how is it that, for instance, the ISS would not bump in, or a satellite would not bump into the Earth? Okay, there are different theories in gravity. And here you see all kinds of experiments and footage of things that should be behind the curvature, but which are just perfectly visible. So that's my case.
Okay. Do you want to stop sharing your screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you want to leave the rest of your time? You've got about a minute and a half left.
Yeah. What I just want to say is that it's important that we use our God-given senses to make sense of reality, and to confess about the order in creation, and about the one who created it all. So let's give him the glory. Let's not suppress the truth and unrighteousness, but confess it.
Okay, wonderful. So you've actually finished with about a minute left there. Bart.
Yeah, one more thing. I think
yeah, go ahead.
Low birth science, that is actually science false, as you call it. Just don't be impressed by that. Just examine the things for yourself. Yeah, they have it correct. Sorry.
All right, okay. Thank you for that. So, Bart, do you want to just start your 10 minutes now?
Okay, cheers, yeah. So, as already mentioned, I met Jouk about 2 months ago online. Somebody sent me a link to his video, and I was basically baffled that people still believe this kind of nonsense. I actually thought that he was a naive adolescent who got fooled by the cheap bait and switch being made in so common in Flattaria. So I irked him on a little bit, and as already mentioned, we had 2 debates together where I exposed all the fake claims that he had. I've shown how his fake Himawari imagery is incorrect. I've really bashed him over the head with the claims that baby lungs create a vacuum and that the vacuum doesn't work in space. And of course, the most entertaining debunk was the complete look of confusion on his face when we discussed his fake Cavendish experiment using 2 milk packs on a piece of wood. So I don't think he understands why this is pseudoscience and why he cannot use that kind of experiments to recreate what we do in real science. So we organized 2 discussions already where he didn't perform so well. We tried to do another discussion with him, with his partner in crime, Willy, and that didn't work out. So in the meantime, I challenged him then to have a look at the single piece of evidence and do an in-depth analysis on what's going on there. So that's why I gave him a little video from 6 years ago from NASA, the live stream by Commander Hatfield, where he live streams with the school class and does a simple experiment. And I look very much forward to what Jouke has to say, how this is being faked by NASA. And we will probably see that I've changed my position about Jouke being an adolescent, naive guy. And with that, I surrender my time to Craig. Thanks. Done, Craig?
Yep, sorry, I'm here. I'd muted myself, my bad. So you guys just wanted to, you had 5 questions to ask each other?
Yeah, I did a full analysis of Jouke's video, or a full one. I have highlighted points in my little video, so that would be my next 10 minutes.
Okay. I guess we could just get on with the 5 questions each. We go back to Jouke, and he can ask you some questions, and then you can ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to have them all at once or one by one? But do you have any preference in that? Or?
I don't mind. If you want to go first, go ahead. I left a small video, 10-minute video with Craig that looks into detail in your evidence.
Okay. Yeah. So I wondered why do you choose for this video in the first place? I mean, it doesn't have to do with culture directly.
No, but it proves that that space exists. That's why I want you first to do a proper analysis of it, and tell me where NASA is faking this.
Yeah, well, so even the problem is, even if I were to admit that all of the footage was real, I mean, their globe Earth so-called pictures, images, I think that they are not real. I think they're not, and their footage of the globe is not real. So it wouldn't follow, even if I were to say, well, maybe there can be people floating around into space.
So what you're basically saying, you've not done an in-depth analysis of the video that I sent you.
Yeah.
You don't have any evidence to prove where it's fake?
I saw the water, for instance, that he was putting the water on there. So I did an in-depth analysis. Okay.
So go ahead, tell me where it's fake.
The next one is, so you're basically suggesting that they are floating there in space. But then they're also having this rover on Mars, you know. So why?
I'm not going to go into whataboutism. I asked you to analyze a specific video. Now present your case for why this is fake and what has been faked, Jouke. Come on.
Okay.
Stay on topic.
It is faked with diamagnetism. Diamagnetism. That is how it basically is called. Diamagnetic levitation.
So you think? Do you have any evidence for it?
Yeah. So NASA is even doing experiments on diamagnetic levitation, which we can read, for instance, on Wikipedia. So unless that is not true, Wikipedia is not always reliable. You wouldn't go for scientific evidence, but scientific papers. But it says there that NASA is doing experiments on diamagnetic levitation. So and you can use it even on living.
Where's the evidence in the video that this is what do you call it? Okay. Diamagnetic levitation.
Diamagnetic levitation.
Where is the evidence in the video for that?
Okay. Hang on for a moment. I will share my screen.
I'm not asking you to show a video of diamagnetic levitation. Okay. I'm asking you, where's the evidence in the video that I sent you?
Where's the evidence? Well, it's basically...
You postulate that they're using that, so you need some kind of evidence that you find in that video, right?
Following from the the fact that they can fake things in the ISS, and I showed you in my video that they are faking footage, allegedly coming from the ISS. I think you wouldn't dispute that, right? So if they're able to fake that, then it would raise the question: if they can do it real, why do they even have any fake
Jouke,
footage?
you're mixing up again all different kind of topics. Stay
But-
on topic. I
but-
gave you a video of a live stream from the ISS.
I'm giving you that.
Your argument is that it's faked. Now prove to me that it's faked.
Diamagnetic levitation. So you said, if I would say, well, it's done.
Where is the evidence for the diamagnetic levitation in that video?
All right, let me just butt in a sec here. So obviously he's given you a video from a live stream from the ISS, and your explanation for the reason why they appear to be floating is diamagnetic levitation. So he is just asking you for any evidence that they are actually using diamagnetic levitation to do what they're doing. Like, do you have any proof that that is what they're doing? Like, can you describe what diamagnetic levitation is and how they are applying it on the ISS?
Correct, please.
Yep.
But please reason this through. You know, if you're gonna fake something, then you're not gonna show people how it's done. A magician is not gonna show you how he is faking stuff, except when he is showing you how the trick is done. You know.
Don't you see the disconnect in your whole discussion? So at one point you're now arguing that they are so good that they're faking it. Yet on the other hand, you show a whole lot of videos where they didn't do it so well. So you can't have it both ways, Jouke. Either you provide some evidence for diamagnetic levitation, and you do the calculations of how much energy is needed for that to make that work, because that has also been done, and then show us how it's being done somewhere for a whole period of, 20 minutes that this guy is on live stream?
They are actually quite good at faking it, but people are still able to find some footage and where they mess it up. So yeah, also you could say, well, they're amateurs that they don't cut this out of that. But you know, I don't have.
So on the one hand, they're extremely technically advanced, and on the other hand, they're amateurs. It doesn't work like that, Jouke. Come on. Build a proper case, use your brain, look at the evidence that's provided, create a hypothesis, and work from that. Don't go, I think it's diamagnetic because reasons.
Could you explain to Bart the mechanics behind diamagnetic levitation and how NASA would be applying it on the ISS? I think that's what he's asking for.
Okay. Well, I think there's a giant magnet, so that this thing is a tube, that there's a giant magnet around it. You can see how frogs and strawberries, etc., how you can levitate these things. And this is not new technology. So I don't have to explain in detail how this works, but you know, I'm just reasoning from the fact that, according to me, and you can dispute this, these guys are faking stuff. So if they are faking stuff, then why would this be real? Why wouldn't just all be real? You know, it doesn't make any sense. If you can do it real in the right way, why would you even have people on NSS attached to the ceiling and bubbles in space? It doesn't make any sense. So that's just my response. So maybe you're not okay with that. That's fine. To me, that's fine. Okay, because I'm not reasoning from a globe Earth viewpoint. That's not my my starting point, my starting position. I'm open to all kinds of evidence, and to me, this just doesn't make any sense.
So your whole argument is basically based on it must be fake because reasons. You've got a video of 20 minutes where you could literally go through and figure out how they use the wires, how they have manipulated this, and yet you have no answer for that.
I just gave you. I mean, you can say, well, it's not detailed enough. Okay, it's fine by me. I don't have to give you a detailed case on how this is faked. Isn't it already embarrassing enough that they put faked footage out there? So,
Right. If I
So
could
what
just
makes you argue that it's fake? Where does
yeah,
that
yeah.
start off?
If I could just interject a sec, guys. Like what I'm hearing here is a lot of NASA have faked things before, so this could possibly be fake now. But
no,
what you're doing is you're just asserting that NASA have faked things in the past and using that as kind of your next argument for not having to
no,
actually answer the question. The response I don't know is perfectly acceptable. So if you don't know how diamagnetic levitation can actually work, then just say I don't know and we can move on to the next topic.
we know how it can work because there are even videos online on YouTube which basically show you how scientists have done this. And this
Hmm.
is not disputed by people in the globe earth community. Come on.
Yeah,
That's,
and like Bart, what Bart was saying to you, the energy requirements for actually doing something like that are pretty extreme. So I think what Bart was asking for was some evidence that they have the ability to do that. I mean, the diamagnetic levitation videos I've seen have been a frog being levitated for a few minutes, and that took so much energy. To be able to do it on an entire space station, I think Bart was just asking for some evidence that they A, have the ability to do that, and B, are actually doing that. And I don't think you have any, really, do you?
no, no. Obviously, you can put a power plant all over the place and just put this international space station next to it underground somewhere, and there you have your show. So this is not difficult at all. Just put a power plant somewhere. Um, think about this. Like this. How is it called? You have like this weapon can shoot basically a bullet with also using magnets. I was thinking about that with Mach 7 or so.
You're talking about a railgun.
Railgun, exactly. Yeah. So it uses quite some energy, but apparently they get the energy from somewhere. So why wouldn't it be possible? They can put a railgun somewhere. It uses an insane amount of energy. Well, I would just say,
Jouke, a railgun doesn't use an insane amount of energy. You need to really read up on your science, man.
well, they
They
use
can build these already in handguns. This is, come on.
I mean, these large scale ones, they use an insane amount of energy. I already know that. So because I looked into these videos, I researched it. So Bart saying, no, 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 this is not true. Well, yes, 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 it is true. It requires an insane amount of energy for the large ones, not for the tiny ones.
Yes. Oh, now it becomes a large one. Oh my God.
Oh, because I'm just, what should I do? I should film it there somewhere. You think that NASA allows me uh, to take a close shot from how their diamagnetic levitation is done.
The point is, you don't have any evidence for the video that I sent you
I'm
that
getting,
that was that uses diamagnetic levitation. You're not presenting any case at all with evidence from the video about how things are being done. You're just
well,
hypothesizing. You're starting with I think.
I have confidence in my case. You guys don't have real images from space. Why is that?
Yes, we do.
Only satellites. And um, space is fake. In ISS, these astronauts are doing all kinds of fakery inside the ISS. Please explain that to me. I'm a bit skeptical about NASA.
So now we're going to go back into whataboutism. And I have to go and explain all kind of claims that you are making without you providing any evidence for your claim. Is that what we're going to do again?
Okay,
In
why
that
don't
case,
we?
I'll ask Greg to just play my video with the analysis of Jouke's video, showing where he goes wrong with all his claims of fakery.
Okay. Do you want me to play the entire video?
I don't know. I don't know what Jouko wants to do. This is his 10 minutes to provide evidence for the fakery by NASA.
You can obviously you cannot play the entire video. Just start out with if you want, you can just use part of it. For instance, go by minutes. When it comes to the fakery in space, right? So minutes 5.
I'll cover that, Jouko. Don't worry. I'll rip your whole video apart and show you where you're making all the wrong conclusions in your own video. You focus on the video that I sent you.
Okay.
Show me where the fakery is in that one.
Yeah. The thing is, if it is diamagnetic levitation, so that would be my what I'm thinking about right now, because they're saying, well, we can go inside the ISS. How is it that the ISS does not bump into the Earth if the Earth is going around the sun? So you're there with all kinds of gravity problems. So
there are no gravity problems with the ISS orbiting the Earth. You don't understand your physics, Jouko.
no.
Learn some physics first and learn how the globe model works. And then you start to understand what the concepts are behind it, and then you will be able to debunk it.
But it's just trying to impress people here by trying to come across as being smart. But this just doesn't make any sense. But you can see this.
This has nothing to do with being smart, and you don't need to start an ad hominem attack.
So
If you want to discuss the globe model, you first need to learn about it, how it works.
Yeah. So
Now present some evidence from the video that I sent you where it's fake. Don't postulate that it's magic or a Harry Potter, special effect. Present some evidence for why you argue that video is fake. This is also from NASA, so this should be an easy goal for you. Go and make it. Come on.
So that, like it's also described elsewhere, they're trying to figure out how you can levitate tissue, human tissue, and these kind of stuff. So I
So
don't
explain to me then how this works on humans versus water versus a cloth. Does that negate gravity?
Does that this diamagnetic levitation? Yeah, it negates gravity exactly, because gravity does not even exist. So everything negates it.
So if gravity does not exist, it does not negate gravity. You don't understand your own logic, man.
I mean, it does not negate gravity, because gravity does not exist. You're right there. So
then it does not negate gravity.
Yeah, you're right.
So
Okay,
your whole
right,
logical reasoning is wrong.
Okay, right. So,
okay.
Jouko, you've just made a claim there that gravity doesn't exist. Could you present Bart with some evidence that gravity doesn't exist that you two could talk about?
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, this is basically something along these lines. This is what you want to bring forward, right? Yes. Something like that. Okay.
What?
So
something like what?
The globe Earth, like you say, maybe it's pear-shaped, anything like this, something remotely similar like this. So the problem is here with gravity. Gravity should work in two different ways. It should negate it should compensate for the perpendicular force of people dropping from the Earth, right? And it should compensate for the alas rotation of the Earth. But then there's even a third force which it needs to compensate for. That's the alas movement around the sun. Then you have the movement through the galaxy, and so on. So these are all kinds of different forces. So you're not gonna tell me that it's scientific to think that one single force can compensate for all these different forces. It cannot compensate for that. That is not scientific. It's not. It doesn't make any sense. So gravity cannot exist.
So this is basically a fallacy of personal incredulity. I don't understand how it works, therefore it cannot be true.
I'm telling you that one force cannot compensate for all kinds of other forces.
We're basically now down to, what is it? Primary school level physics, which you don't understand. And if I would even start to talk about the physics of all the other planets and celestial bodies in the sky, your mind would be blown, basically. That's the whole point. It's personal incredulity. You have no evidence to go back to the video that I sent you.
I should go back to school. This is the basic ad hominem fallacy. I'm just reasoning with you.
It's not a basic ad hominem fallacy. I'm just telling you we're back down to primary school physics at this point in time. And simply because you don't understand it, you reject it.
Now I'm explaining you why I don't agree with it. You're assuming that I don't understand it. I'm explaining you how it is supposed to work. You don't agree with me? You don't agree with me that it should compensate for all these forces?
No, it should not compensate for all these forces. It should exceed all these forces. And it does exceed all these forces. As we had discussed in a previous debate, if we look at gravity, the gravity from the sun is something like 1/20% compared to gravity, to Earth's gravity. So it clearly exceeds the forces needed. And once you start doing all the calculations of all the different bodies in the sky, you will see that it exceeds all of them. So in your little video, you say that it counterbalance. I don't think you understand what it means, counterbalance. You're missing so much that you don't understand, and you simply say, therefore it cannot be true. This is where you need to start off, Jouke.
I think that you're just reading from a global Earth perspective right now, and that's the reason why you.
That's the problem. You think.
The credit.
Now you need to start proving some evidence. So if you don't have any evidence to add to your to the video that I sent, shall we move on to what I did on your video? Greg, do you mind showing that 10-minute analysis of Jouke's video?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, do you want me to just play the whole thing, or?
Yes, please.
Okie
just
dokie.
let it run. And if the chat says it's boring, then we skip it. So Jouke, have a good look. I looked into your video and see where it all went wrong.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, bear with me. I'll just get this all set up.
Jouke loves to copy-paste videos from other sources without providing any reference. For example, in this case, this is a screenshot of what I suspect is a video by Eric Dubé, which was then edited by probably Jeronism, and which one then edited by Jouke. Wherever see citation popping up, this is what happens. We really need to ask a question whether or not this is intellectual incompetence or straightforward plagiarism. First claim that Jouke makes is that there is fakery and lies by all the global Earth propaganda organizations. His email then downgrades the whole story, that there is no proof, etc., etc. And then in the video actually says this.
All the fraudulent imagery put forward by an organization like NASA.
So here we have the first bait and switch. He has sweeping statements about fakery and lies by all these organizations, and then switches it to fraudulent images from NASA. And the first case that Jouke brings up is the Blue Marble 2002, which he says is fraudulent. But when you then listen to the video, this is what it says.
A composite of datasets from several different instruments translated into a picture.
There is nothing fraudulent here, this is just already known. Of course, the real issue is to wonder, how do you take the clouds out? That's not so simple as being presented. And that brings me to my first question for Jouke. What equipment would you use to make a testable and falsifiable photograph or image of the whole Earth? Think it out. What kind of a camera, etc. What kind of a lens? Next, he brings up the old argument already
And
covered.
officially, it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it.
Jaak, of course, then wants to jump on the part of the pear-shapedness, which really has nothing to do with the shape of a pear. We've had a discussion, no need to keep on going about this. So here's yet another Texas sharpshooter fallacy. People arguing that all the images provided by NASA show a perfect sphere. No, they don't. And yet, even when it's not a perfect sphere, people start making problems out of it, as shown in another video that Jouke presents.
You actually do this a couple times. Do it twice. And what this does is it shows you if there's any edits. It shows you where the edits were.
Here we have a double bait and switch where the actual image is different one than the original one. You can see it in the file extension. The original is a GIF file and the file being used is a TIFF file. And the second bait and switch is using Photoshop to make the edits in there by clicking on OK. So this is a sleight of hand being used to let you make edits in the photograph that you then see in later edits of it. So I've taken it the time to do this myself and have a look. I used GIMP. We don't find any anomalies in the original picture using GIMP. And also note that the edge of Earth is much smoother than being shown in the image from Jouke's video. So obviously something has been changed there. So that brings me to the second question for Jouke. How did you verify that the original files of the photos in your video contain the anomalies shown? Have you verified this? Next, Jouke brings up anomalies in videos. He found a few videos, and again, well, let's see.
Astronauts all disappear simultaneously while the background layer of the ISS remains intact. While the background layer of the ISS remains intact. While the background layer of the ISS remains intact. While the background layer of the ISS remains intact. While the background layer of the ISS remains intact.
So anybody working with Skype and other video conference systems will be aware that this sometimes happens. This is an image compression issue in video streaming. As we have already covered again in a previous debate, we could have the same argument on the video conference call with Jouke, where I could argue that Jouke is fake and I'm real based on the anomalies in the video. It's nonsense. It's not any evidence of anomaly of fraudulent behavior. So this brings us to the question why Jouke keeps deceiving his viewers like this and why he himself is being deceived. And he actually touches up on that in his video himself.
The text which deals with this topic is 2 Timothy 3 verse 13. There it says, while evil men and impostors go from bad to worse, deceiving and being deceived.
So I suggest that Jouke takes a good look in the mirror and contemplates whether or not he's being deceived and is deceiving people. Because right now there is a strong case to be made that he willingly and knowingly deceives his viewers. He is merely capitalizing on others to lie for him rather than lie for himself. The next claim that Jouke has concerns inconsistencies in the theory of gravity. He argues that it cannot exist.
Gravity cannot exist, or if it would exist, then it would be an incoherent concept.
I don't think he has any background background training in gravity. I definitely, after 30 years, needed to read up on it again. The first argument he brings in there is that somehow people stick to the downside of a globe. Clearly he fails to grasp even the most fundamental understanding of the globe model by stating the very concept of the downside of the globe is absolute nonsense again. It's rather striking for me actually that Jouke has a globe and always brings it along. It really makes me wonder if he goes to bed with it, whispering. Next, Jouke brings up a video by Rory Cooper, which we also already have covered. We'll quickly play it again and show you what the errors are in there.
The International Space Station and the Hubble telescope is free from gravity in outer space, yet will move along the Earth equal to the speed of the Earth.
This, of course, is a load of nonsense. Earth doesn't stop spinning arbitrarily. Already, East and West are shown as positions above the Earth somewhere. This is nonsense. Also already covered. Rory Cooper thinks that the ISS is at one point free of gravity, but at another point is being pulled in by. And of course, the ISS does not hang above the Earth as shown in this video. It has an orbit of about every 90 to 93 minutes, so about 16 times a day it zips along a tilted axis around the Earth. And in this video shown, it would have done about 20 or more times zipped around very close to the Earth. You wouldn't see it. Again, it's an argument of ignorance and not worth the time for discussion. Next, Jouke argues that gravity is...
It would be there to counterbalance the centrifugal force.
Which is of course absolute nonsense. Come on, counterbalance does not mean what you think it means. And the centrifugal force is about 0.5% of the gravity, and we don't feel that. We've covered this already in an earlier debate. Jouke then also argues that gravity...
Also, it should counterbalance the motion and the force accompanied by the Earth going around the Sun and the Earth traveling through the galaxy and through the universe as a whole.
This we have already covered in the debate as well, and he fails to recognize that the globe model postulates that only changes in linear motions affect us. This of course brings me to my third question for Jouke. We've already talked about the density buoyancy model before, and I'd like to know from Jouke, how does your density buoyancy hypothesis improve on Archimedes Principle? So with regard to his second claim, Jouke is clearly well on top of the peak of Mount Stupid, a serious case of the Dunning-Kruger effect, with no evidence supporting his second claim. So let's quickly move on to his third claim about experiments done on the curvature.
Thirdly, it is important to show that there just isn't any curvature.
So Jouke brings up the rule of thumb
What's happening?
for 8 inches per mile squared on curvature. This is an old rule of thumb with limited use. It's incomplete and outdated. So that leads me to question 4 for Jouke. How is the theorem of Pythagoras used to verify curvature? Second point, building appear not to lean away. It's again a simple calculation that you can do. For Pete's sake, this is for 59 miles, less than 1% in leaning away from you. Nobody can see that. This lighthouse is smack near the border with Belgium in the north of France. This is just dumb. Jouke also brings up the argument that if there are mirages, we should be able to see even further. No, we don't see much further. We just see things differently. Kitchen experiments that you can do, go and do them. So in another video, Jouke actually shows an excellent example of what mirage looks like. And you see the air moving things up and down. So that brings me to the fifth question for Jouke. What are the causal differences of a superior mirage versus an inferior mirage? In conclusion, also the third claim of Jouke has no evidence whatsoever. It's copies of copies of copies. And merely another bait and switch to make an argument. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Cheers, Greg. I think you're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep muting myself so you can't hear my keyboard and then forgetting to unmute myself. Right, yeah, so Jouke, how do you want to do it? Do you just want to, did you make any notes? Do you want to address one point at a time there?
Yeah. The one at a time. That's good, I think.
Okay.
But
so
I made some notes here. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind on the first one is on what kind of lens is used for or should be used for taking a video from the Earth or taking a picture from the Earth. Well, why does it have to be one lens? You know, if you can make a picture, you can use all kinds of cameras and lenses. So this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have any relationship also to the shape of the Earth. What I'm just saying is that NASA puts forward fraudulent images, which are even it can be easily easily been shown that these are fake. For instance, you can see the copy-pasted clouds in there, but so don't say, well, oh, they use data for this and that. If they use data, why do they have to copy-paste the clouds? You can see that they're copy-pasted, but
because you don't understand how satellite imagery works, Jouke. It's again a fallacy of personal incredulence.
Yeah. It has been shown that these clouds are copy-pasted. If you have done your research,
yes, and NASA also admits that, Jouke. Go back to the original question. What equipment would you use to make a picture of the whole Earth? What would be required? You're strawmanning the question. You're trying to dodge it.
It depends from the distance. If you do it from a larger distance, then you need to have another lens.
So in order to make a picture of the whole Earth, how big of a lens would you need? Yeah. What kind of a camera would you require?
If you make it from the moon, or you make it from 5 centimeters distance. Obviously, it would depend. You would require quite some.
Why don't you simply answer the question, Jouke? What kind of equipment would you require to make a picture of the whole Earth?
You need a.
And saying I don't know is a perfectly acceptable answer, Jouke. But be honest about it.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay. Next question.
Well, then you're a fool. Okay. Then I'm a fool because I don't know what kind of lens is used for that. Okay, next question.
That's your words.
Come on, give me a break. What kind of question is that? Think about your question. Okay, we go to...
Well, I can think it out.
Okay, please tell me. Why?
Shall I give you an example of how to do that? Okay, so if I would want to take a picture of the whole Earth with an ordinary lens which has about 60-degree coverage, and from a distance of about 100,000 kilometers, I would need a lens of about probably 20 to 30 meters. Then I would need to build a whole casing around it in order to get sufficient distance to make the actual picture. So this would require something like a 60-meter long installation. Then we come into the issue. Okay, you're not going to accept any... Let me finish. You had your chance. Let me finish.
Okay.
Then we come to the whole point. You were not accepting, digital imagery. So therefore, we need to find some mechanics in order to put in a negative and send that, have that land into your back garden. So this is quite a big construction that you need to create.
No, I don't accept copy-pasted material, but that doesn't mean that I don't accept digital imagery. Obviously,
wait, you don't accept copy-pasted material?
No, obviously not, like these copy-pasted clouds.
So why are you copy-pasting your own videos then, Jouke?
Oh, I don't accept them when it is presented.
When it doesn't suit you, exactly. So keep moving on. I can answer the question, you could not. Move on, second question. Don't start your whataboutism, don't start gish galloping, answer the second question.
It is presented as a real image, and we pay 70 billion for it. Okay. Have you investigated this for yourself? So it was about these images.
The question was, how did you verify that the original files of the two photos shown do contain the anomalies that you claim there are? Or is that just another copy-paste that you did from another video?
So the reasoning here would be so that if I would use something by others who show basically...
How did you verify that the original files of these images contain the anomalies that you claim that are there? It's not a difficult question.
Okay. Well, I didn't, you know.
Ah, you didn't? Okay, thanks. That's easy.
I didn't.
Next question.
It is downloaded, it's shown how it's downloaded from the NASA side.
Yes, and I just showed you what kind of bait and switch is being pulled to trick you into believing that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You should have downloaded it yourself. We've been there. You've not done your homework. Question 3.
Homework. Okay, bad guy. Video manipulating. Yeah, the question 3 was on the video manipulating. Basically, how do I know that it's not basically a problem by editing?
Dear God, did you not take notes?
Yeah. Video manipulating. There was about
No, density buoyancy model. Question 3.
The density buoyancy model. Okay. So that there, can you explain it one more time? It was all real quick. I made some notes here. Like I wrote down the first 2. You already knew this, so please help me out here, Bart.
How does your density buoyancy model improve on Archimedes Principle?
On Archimedes Principle. I don't know exactly how it improves on that. It's more that.
Do you know the Archimedes Principle?
It's not at the top of my head right now, but
Can you explain the Archimedes Principle?
like I said,
he's the guy that shouted "Eureka" in the bath.
If I hear it, then
Eureka! Eureka! Thanks, Greg.
So Archimedes' principle basically says that the volume of whatever goes in is equal to the volume of water that's displaced. So the story goes that Archimedes, when he got in the bath and he realized that the water then went over the edge of the bath, he clicked and went Eureka, because he realized that the volume is equal to what is displaced. So what Bart is asking you is, how does buoyancy and density replace this very basic observation?
Yeah, well, basically, buoyancy has a little bit to do with that, but with the pressure of basically, which goes by fluid with the pressures onto pushes up the stuff in there. But density has to do with something else, obviously. So density has to do with the density of particles. So basically, the density of particles compared to each other, So it does not have directly something to do with Archimedes, obviously. So I don't see what Archimedes' law has to do with density so much. So maybe Bart can explain that.
Well, I think the Glober's model is very clear. That the amount of water that's being displaced by a certain object being put in the water creates buoyancy. And buoyancy is related to gravity, which you claim does not exist. So again, how does your model improve on the Archimedes principle? That's a very simple question for somebody with physics.
Yeah. So
you want me to answer it?
Can I share something about this, Craig? A picture? Craig, are you there?
Yep, sorry, if you want to screen share, just go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so, okay. Gonna share screen.
Okay, yep, go ahead.
Okay, there you see it.
Yep.
So, if these, this basically contradicts the idea that it is only because of gravity that these rocks are at the bottom.
Really? How does it contradict this?
Well, because buoyancy makes that things rise up into.
So the stones rise up
into a certain fluid. Now, for instance, you have the boats which stay floating. You can put all these rocks inside the boat, and then buoyancy makes that the rocks don't fall to the bottom.
The buoyancy of what?
The buoyancy of the water, obviously.
The buoyancy of the water makes that the rocks don't sink.
Yeah, because they're in the boat.
Or
the boat,
perhaps would it be the buoyancy of the boat?
That boat stays floating, basically.
So it would be the buoyancy of the boat, not the buoyancy of the water.
Yeah, you exactly. So,
Yeah, exactly. And in that way, with simple science, I can actually explain why gravity is still active there. And why we use the Archimedes Principle for the Archimedes theorem for that, which you cannot explain.
Oh, you're just putting...
So clearly you don't understand the Archimedes theorem. Let's move on from that one then. Question 4, can you answer that one?
Your own assumption for... I already pointed you at the inconsistency of gravity, so... Okay, now... Next
and I've just debunked all your inconsistencies in the previous video, so...
Okay,
Question 4, keep on going.
The next question... that was video manipulating, right?
Video manipulating? My God.
You had a question on that.
Question 4.
You put a question in your video on video manipulation.
How do you use the theorem of Pythagoras to determine curvature? You had the table in your video. Explain to me how that works.
Well, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You know, I didn't calculate all these things yet. So.
And what's that a formula for, Jouke?
For calculating triangles.
Triangles, yeah. And how do triangles work on a curvature?
Yeah, it has to do with basically the drop of the horizon. But you know, what does it have to do with anything?
Well, curvature in the globe model is round, right?
That yeah, it has to do with how much your line of sight should drop to be able to see the things we are seeing. So that is where this Pythagoras theorem is used for, obviously.
Obviously.
I suppose that
it is not obvious to me, so explain it to me. How do you use triangles to determine something is round? Because triangles are not round.
Yeah, we're saying that the Earth is round. We're talking about 3D objects here, not about roundness only, about spherical. If something is a sphere or not. So, yeah, you don't use it for that. And that's because we don't live on a sphere. We just calculate if the Earth would be the sphere of 40,000 kilometers in circumference, or what is it, 28?
Craig, what was your question about triangle? I saw it coming past.
I just wanted to ask Jakon, if you have a triangle of sides 1, 1, and 1, what would the internal angles be?
1, 1, 1. What would be the internal? What would be the internal angles be? 1, 1, 1.
Yep. So you've got a triangle with sides of 1, 1, and 1. What are the internal angles of that triangle?
Of sides 1, 1, 1.
Yeah.
Okay, be a little bit more specific, and I don't know what this actually has to do with.
I'm just trying to get a grasp on your basic level of maths, just so I can know where you're coming from. So you've got a triangle of sides 1, 1, and 1, or 2, 2, and 2, or 3, 3, and 3. It doesn't matter. All three sides are the same length. So what are the internal angles of that triangle?
Listen, I can figure out. I can come up with a kind of question. For instance, how many cities are in Frisia, and you don't know the answer, and then I can laugh about you because you don't know the answer. I figured it out up front.
See,
so
the thing is here that the reason why this question is asked to flat earthers is because flat earthers claim they're able to.
moderator here.
I know. I'm just trying to explain why I asked that
We're
question.
talking about the Pythagorean principle, Jouke. So that is triangles, and therefore it fits within the question.
And I, as the moderator, I was just trying to gather your level of understanding of maths around triangles. And the reason why I ask flat earthers this question is because they are trying to debunk all of science. So I would expect them to at least have a little bit of understanding of the science they're trying to debunk. That's the reason why I ask a very simple question, like if a triangle has sides of 1, 1, and 1, what would the internal angles be? Now, okay, let me ask a simpler question for you. What is the total angles inside a triangle? What do they add up to?
Let me ask you a simple question. Why do you defend these pathetic liars? So we see that they are coming up with all kinds of lies. You have this preconceived bias.
That was the problem. Like what I'm asking you there is nothing to do with people lying or anything. And it's kind of, I'm not trying to like get involved in the debate. I'm literally just trying to get a level of your understanding of your level of mathematical abilities. And simple things like knowing the internal angles of a triangle isn't a fact of anybody lying to you in the way that no one's lying to you that 1 + 1 = 2. That fundamental fact is very much the same as all the maths and physics that we try to use to describe the globe. So I'll back out now. I think I've done what I needed to by asking you the question of 1, 1, and 1. The answer was 60.
I thought the question was too easy, Craig. I was going for a 3, 4, 5 triangle, but well.
What defines knowledge?
Sorry?
What defines knowledge?
Okay. Anyway,
you don't know anything about epistemology. Oh, correct.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry. Epistemology. What was the actual question?
What defines knowledge?
What defines knowledge? Well, knowledge is an understanding.
No, it's basically something along the lines of justified true belief. So
no. Knowledge has nothing to do with belief.
So you can.
That's an excuse Christians bring on board to explain their magic book.
You don't know what it means.
Knowledge has nothing to do with
answer the fifth
belief.
question.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Back to the debate. Fifth question.
Okay. Fifth question. This one had to do with the causal something of the causes of the superior versus the inferior mirage, which has to do with cold air and hot air basically, and there's a difference between it and how it works and whether it curves upwards or downwards. In any case, we're talking about mirages there, and we know what kind of effects it produces, and the picture shown by the weatherman is not a mirage, because
how have you determined that it was not a mirage?
Compared to that one, we see that the picture will get blurred and will get distorted. We don't see any distortion there, so it's just intellectually dishonesty, basically.
Wait, you have never seen mirages of a whole ship floating?
Yeah.
Very clear? Without any blurring, without any distortion?
No, I don't have. I didn't see any of those. But obviously, you see them all the time, because each time.
So now don't try to strawman my position, Jouke. Don't try to wiggle out of this. Go on YouTube later on when the debate is finished. Let me finish my sentence. Be quiet. Let me finish my sentence. Be quiet. After the discussion, go onto YouTube and have a look at floating sailboats. You will see how mirages work, even without distortion. In very exceptional cases, you will see a perfect sail ship floating about way too high above the ocean. But at least you understand mirages and you're able to work that out.
So you say we can see that it's a mirage, but it's a mirage anyway. Okay, you can say that.
Jouko, do ships fly?
So we see distortion then. It appears to be.
Jouke, do ships fly?
If you're referring to
Jouke, do ships fly?
most of the times they don't.
Exactly. Ships do not fly, especially sail ships. So if we see a photo or a video of a sail ship hanging way above the horizon, then there obviously is a miraging going on.
Yeah, but
And even though the ship is completely in view, there is no distortion, nothing going on.
no, and
There is still a mirage there.
Yeah, and how about?
And you can start an argument again out of incredulity because you haven't seen it yet. I'm just telling you, go afterwards this debate, go on YouTube, have a look, and see how sail ships can actually fly. Or appear to fly, sorry. Okay, those were my 5 questions. Obviously, most of them you couldn't answer. You haven't given me your questions yet?
I did so, right?
Yeah, I don't think
okay.
Jouke actually really had any questions as such. I can ask both of you a question if you just give me 1 sec to get this up. Okay, and I'll share that on the screen for you as well. Bear me 1 sec. Sorry, bear with me. I should have had this picture prepared.
No worries.
There we go, that's the one. Okay, now let me share my screen with you guys, and I'll swap over to that so they can see it as well.
Okay.
And
Oh yeah, I love that one.
okay, so let me just get that over so they can see it as well. All right, Jouke, can you explain to me, or to Bart rather, how this is possible? Because obviously the sun is above the clouds, yet at the same time it's casting a shadow of the mountain on the undersides of the clouds. So Jouke, on the flat Earth, could you explain to Bart how this is possible?
On the flat Earth, the sun. Can you make the picture a little bit larger, maybe?
Am I not sharing the screen with you on the Hangouts? Yeah, just look at my thing on Hangouts.
We see your full screen, Greg, so the picture is a bit small.
Are you looking at the actual Hangouts screen or at the stream? If you go to Hangouts and click on I'm straight sharing the wrong screen. That's my bad. Bear with me. Sorry, I've got 3 monitors and I shared the wrong screen. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Jouke, can you explain to Bart how this image would be possible on a flat Earth?
On a flat Earth, how this is possible?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The sun is just going away, and this is done on height. So the sun is just shining on the mountain there, and basically casting a shadow.
Okay, but you have to remember here that the sun
can also be reflecting upon of the water which is up front, for instance. We don't know exactly. So
well, there is no water or anything around Mount Rainier like that. Now, just to clarify what you're seeing here, on a flat Earth, okay, it would have to be the sun would literally be above the clouds, right? Because the sun is always above the clouds on a flat Earth. It's high in the sky. Now, the problem with that is that to cast a shadow on the underside of clouds, the light source has to be below the mountain. And I was just wondering if you could explain how a light source could be below the mountain when the sun is supposed to be above the clouds.
Yeah. Okay. What you seem to overlook maybe that if the sun is going down, it's actually circling away from that position. So as that happens, it appears as if it's sinking below the horizon, right? So
Yeah.
the upper or the lower part of the atmosphere can work in such a way that it bends the light upward. So the the sun would appear to be almost below the horizon, and still you have the light, you know.
I mean, Bart, do you have any rebuttal to that?
Well, the point is that then light would have to bend in significant ways, far beyond what normal miraging does, from a sun that is above the clouds, and then refract or whatever down, back upwards. There you go, great picture.
The people can't see that, so I'm just going to show that
That's
too.
simply impossible. We can have an inferior mirage of about, what is it, 1/4 degree. But this would require a far greater distortion of the light.
Well, you could say.
And of course, on a globe model, it's quite easy, yeah?
I can also just come up with this. Certain things we don't know, you know. Sometimes you just need to.
And the thing is, we do know.
No, you don't know, because you also have the daylight lunar eclipse, you know, which I showed you in that other episode of mine, that other video. So there you have a lunar eclipse coming from the top side of the moon, going to the
So
bottom.
now you're trying to change the topic, which
Well,
was not the question,
well,
but I'll answer it anyway. You don't understand 3D, how that works.
I'm saying your supposedly scientific model is completely flawed. So
It's simply you don't understand how 3D works and how a moon can be lit by the sun.
you simply don't know how this principle of the daylight lunar eclipse works.
Oh, I can draw you a picture later on. I'll send it by email, okay? It's quite easy.
Yes. Just do that.
But you can't answer Greg's question about...
So maybe
How
I don't know. So then
you don't know. Okay.
right? We haven't seen any curvature yet, but it must be the globe model. Okay, great case, Craig. If that is your scientific knowledge, then
Bear with me, and I'll get you a picture of curvature to discuss.
correct. It's a question. You're just assuming that the globe model can account for that. You even
See, and there's your problem. Science has already proven over and over and over again that we live on a globe Earth,
yeah.
but you just don't accept it.
But still, we can.
Because you cannot science. You cannot even do a simple triangulation.
Where is the curvature then? Where is the curvature? You don't know. Oh,
Hold
it
on.
must be mirage. That is your
Hang
answer.
on, Jouke, relax. We'll show it to you. Greg has a picture. I didn't prepare it.
I'm trying to find the one that I've been using. I seem to have lost it. Bear with me. Oh yeah, it would be in my messages.
All
but-
these experiments and these measurements over and over, and that is why I'm sitting here with so much confidence, because if the scientists actually would know that the Earth would be a globe, then they would be able to show it in measurements, but they cannot do it because it's only imagination.
Okay, now bear with me 1 sec, and I'll get this video up for the guys. This picture rather, so they can see this one. Properties, browse, jet versus pure. There we go. Okay, can you see the picture on my screen, guys?
Yes.
Okay. There's your curvature, bud. Bart, do you want to explain what we're seeing there to your friend?
Sure.
So we're basically seeing two ships. Now I'm seeing Jouke. I have from memory, two ships. One is just before the horizon, the other one is just over it. If my eyesight is not that good anymore, I would have to guess that it's the whole thing is the ship in the background is slightly smaller.
Oh, actually, both the ships are in reality exactly the same size.
Yeah, sorry, due to perspective, I forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
as far as I can see, the same type. Identical ships, but with the man over the curve, most of the ship has disappeared.
Wow.
So you just asked for curvature, and there's pretty conclusive evidence of curvature there. What do you say to that?
Yeah. Well, now I'm fully convinced, guys. This must be it.
I mean, are you just being sarcastic, or do you have an answer to how that's possible on a flat Earth?
This is for kind of crap. You show me a picture of what is it? Not many pixels, and then you say, "Oh, here we clearly have a curvature." You know, half the picture.
So then explain how on your model the bottom of the half of the ship is disappeared.
And that is just maybe a miraging going on. You can see, for instance, in a certain video.
We're talking about this picture, not a certain video.
If you look at this picture, you can see the horizon line where the ship is sitting. There is no inferior mirage or superior mirage. There's no looming, no warping, no bending. It's a very clear-cut line. The only thing that is happening, the difference between the two ships, is the one that's further away is either sinking or being physically blocked by an obstruction.
Yeah. So what I think that has been done here is just that people copy pasted the ships.
No. This is an actual photo that someone's taken. In fact, I saw this first on Sleeping Warriors channel. So this is it's not copy and pasted. It's not edited. It's not altered. This is an actual photo of those two vessels, one just further away than the other.
Made by a flat earther?
Well, I saw it on Sleeping Warriors channel. I don't know if it's his observation or not, but I saw it on Sleeping Warriors channel.
Yeah, because we don't see this in reality. This is not real, guys.
Except that is a picture of reality. That's a real picture.
Oh, yeah, that is what you're saying. Yeah, correct.
No, it actually is. I mean, I've traced back the source, and it's a real. I can't remember exactly where it came from. I don't think it's Sleeping Warriors observation, but it's been shown on Sleeping Warriors channel, and it's an observation that many other people have shown him around. I've shown this particular observation. It's a well-known photo. It's not faked. If someone in the chat can tell me where this actually came from, that would be great, because I don't know the original source. But it's an unedited photograph. The only thing I've done is crop it.
You can see at the sides of it that it is. Something happened with it.
I've cropped it. The only the only thing that
screen grab, Jouke.
The only thing I have.
You're doing copy pasting from other people.
I've cropped the picture to remove everything else off the screen. That's all. So it was my bad cropping skills that's done that. Okay, but I've just grabbed that off of literally from Sleeping Warriors video. He for some reason was trying to present this as evidence of no curve, but is that ship sinking, or is it being obstructed? That's the question, really.
I don't believe what you. I don't believe you for a second. What you're saying here.
So it's down to calling people liars. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm calling you people liars. You have this preconceived notion that you're off the globe. You know, I show you all this fakery, but no. It's all real. It's all real. There's not.
Debunk all your fakery.
So So
I've debunked all of it already in the video. You're basically presenting lies.
Yeah.
So, can I just get your clarification that that image, assuming it's real for now, would be impossible on a flat Earth, yes?
Yes.
This image.
What? Yeah.
I would say.
Okay, so you agree that that image is impossible on a flat Earth. Now, your homework is to go and research this image. Find out where it came from and who took it. Okay? Because you have just said that if this is a real image, the flat Earth is impossible. So now your entire belief system relies on you finding the origins of this photo and proving to yourself whether the Earth is flat or not.
It's a fake. Yeah.
So I know need to do that, but you're not gonna.
Hey, I'll do this. I'll do the same. All right. I will do. I'll do the same for you. No, I'm just saying. I'm saying I do the same. I will do research on this as well, and we can compare our notes.
He wants me to look into this, and I need to figure it all out. He's not gonna look into Lake Baikal or any of the hundreds experiments done by flat earthers, which indicate that
which all have been debunked already, which you can look up on YouTube as well.
Already.
Except you don't.
Yeah. Guys, I find this quite suspicious. Also about the fact that these scientists, they can't conduct the experiments, which just show you, well, this is the amount of curvature we should have over this distance. And
if you want to challenge the scientist, learn some basic science first, Jouke.
Well, this is just an ad hominem attack.
Okay.
Wait,
right.
Can you tell me how much the internal angles of a triangle add up to?
The internal angles, it's 360 degree. If you have it.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, wrong answer.
Maybe.
If you want to challenge scientists, Jouke, start learning these basic things about science.
180 maybe, because I could
180, yes.
But
okay. We've been going for an hour and a half. I think it's about time that we maybe do our closing arguments. Joachim, I would like to offer you the opportunity to have 5 minutes just for your final thoughts on anything that's been discussed today.
Yeah, I would say don't suppress the truth and unrighteousness. Don't defend your interest. Obviously, the interest would be that God would not exist. Both of you are basically quite anti-God. I hear Bart.
Whoa! You're not gonna get away with that one.
Yeah. You're saying.
Whoa! Be very careful what you're saying now, Jouke.
Yeah, but I hear you talking about, my, and then you're going. So you don't have any respect for the Creator. Neither does Bart.
My Creator is better than yours, buddy.
He basically suggests that we came from a Big Bang, so we have this creation, we have this design, and
did I say that anywhere? No.
Just heaven.
Lying again. You're strawmanning, Jouke.
Okay, all right. Just let him have his 5 minutes, and then you can say anything you want. Bart, all right, just let him have his 5 minutes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
God created just heaven and earth, and He wants to receive the glory. He doesn't want people to honor themselves, basically, or honor these scientists, honor the achievement of these glorious men. And also just think about it. We have a major challenges when it comes to sustainability issues, and Bart should know all about it. And especially when it comes to resources, things like that. So the only solution is when Christ will return to come with the kingdom of God, which will be on this flat earth here. And it's important for us to prepare for that, not to suppress the truth and the righteousness. So people come up with all kinds of philosophies, like this globe earth model, and all kinds of flat earth models, which are also not according to the truth that the Creator wants to bring to us. And probably Bart has his own god figured out himself, made up by himself maybe. So people want to construct reality to have it fit with their interests, and they look for idols basically to tell them what they want to hear, which is also perfectly described in 2 Timothy 4 verse 3 and 4, where it reads, hang on, give me 1 second, guys. There it says, for the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine, sound teachings. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside to myths, because they cannot stand hearing the truth, let alone investigating it. So once again, don't suppress it. God will be very angry about it. It's also written in Romans 1 verse 18 until 25 or so. That passage. Yeah. So let's get realistic. Let's accept reality, and let's not invent all kinds of things. Make up our own kind of reality. There you have it, guys. Please stay tuned to the Pure Gospel on the Flat Earth YouTube channel. More videos will be coming up. And if you want to...
Well, I know what episode 18 is.
Then you know how to...
Radical, me and you need to do a collaboration, just saying. All right, thanks for that. The Pure Gospel of Flat Earth. Bart, Jack of all trades, would you like 5 minutes to just finish off any thoughts?
Finish up any thoughts? Thanks, Greg. First of all, thank you very much for rescheduling this debate.
No worries.
We screwed it up badly on the 2-on-2 one, which we were supposed to do. Thanks for your time. So we basically try to look at independent evidence. We try to analyze evidence for the shape of the Earth. Jouke sent me his video, which I took apart. I showed again where he does shallow bait and switch, where he pulls a sleight of hand, and where he tries to trick you into making the wrong assumptions, the wrong conclusion, take the wrong conclusion. In my opening statement, I already said that I've significantly changed my position on Jouke, because I no longer think that he's a naive adolescent. I think he's on purposely lying to his viewers to create a false image of the flat Earth. I don't think he's interested in researching the truth at all, as he has shown with the picture shown by Craig about the ships disappearing over the horizon. He immediately rejects even trying to look it up and learn something. And I think he will just keep on continuing to have a lot of bark and no bites, presenting a lot of whataboutism, trickery, and absolutely no logical reason to bring evidence to the debate. On the 5 questions I asked him, he was able to only answer the 5th one to a certain extent on how superior mirages work. He could not come to a proper discussion on what equipment would be necessary to create a picture of the Earth. He did not verify that his claims were correct about anomalies being shown in the files and that they were not being created by the people. He could not explain the Archimedes Principle properly. He didn't know the theorem of Pythagoras. So I think he showed that he doesn't have to understand the necessary basic understanding of science to debunk science. And with that, once again, thanks, Greg, for the opportunity to talk here. And I pass my favorite Flerf over to you for some more fun. Cheers.
Thank you both for having a reasonably civil conversation. That's always appreciated. But I think I'm just going to read the super chats and we're going to close it down for tonight. So we have quite a few. Let me just get that loaded up. Okay, so we're... Oops, I'm trying to reload the page and it crashed. what date are we on? We're on the 17th of May, aren't we? $10 from TigLogan16. So called. Yes. Another $10. Love the globe. We all do. $10 from Cleaner Ben. Can't wait for Sleeping Warrior Week, mate. Yeah. Check out the t-shirt, guys.
Yes, definitely.
Go to my Teespring store. Link is in the description if you want to get a t-shirt for Sleeping Warrior Week. $4.99 from Giant Midget Moto. You cannot have both a diamagnetic levitation of a human and have metal objects in the same area. The field of that strength would crush all metal. Yeah, I was hoping it would get to that, but we didn't need to even go that far. $5 from Novocaine. Just hammer him on how the flat Earth model works. What flat Earth model? There's no such thing. $2 from Chris Kelling. Oh, I see. Intelligence isn't his first language. 500 yen from Sheldo Peets. Please, Mr. Branson, give a couple of these flat sticks a seat on Galactic. P.S. I don't need a science degree to know flat sticks are idiots. Ding. $2 from Damjan Vizniak. He definitely went to JM Truth's school. Oh, goodness me. To have JM Truth as a teacher would be horrendous. $2 from Awesome519. Pilots utilize a sphere model. Why aren't we lost? Yeah. If we all used flat Earth maps, then we'd be crashing all the time. And finally, £5 from Keith Milner. How can Flerfs try to challenge a model when they don't have the slightest clue about how that model works? That is a wonderful question that I have asked many, many times myself. But thank you guys for watching today. Today, I think it's in about 3 hours, Team Skeptic is doing a debate with a moon landing denier on non sequitur, so make sure you guys go and check that out. Godless Engineer is also streaming around about now, I think, and I will have my video out tomorrow, episode 17 of Flerfs Are Idiots, with Brainy Beaver helping me out on that one. And then starting Monday is Sleeping Warrior Week, a whole week dedicated to him, and it's going to be fantastic. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out both the guys' channels. They should be in the description. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat Earth.
You're great.